Can everybody see the slides? Yeah, all right, that's great. So, hi everyone. Thank you for being here. We are Kate and Alex, and we'll briefly be presenting what the SASA Archaeogaming live team is and what we've been doing for the past year. But maybe let's just first introduce ourselves. Maybe I'll go first. I'm Alexander van der Walle. I'm a joint PhD researcher at the University of Antwerp and Ghent University in Belgium. And my PhD topic, which I've been working on for 2 years now, is the characterization of Greek and Roman gods and heroes in video games. So I basically work with games all day. And Kate.
Hi, I'm Kate Miniti. Apologies for the bad voice and the constant coughing. I'm just slightly coming out of COVID. So I will not talk a lot today. I'm a PhD candidate at the University of British Columbia, Vancouver. My PhD topic has nothing to do with video games, but I've been a gamer for as long as I could hold a joypad in my hands. So I was very excited to start this new Archaeogaming live event with SASA.
Yeah, so maybe for those of you who might not be familiar with what archaeogaming is, maybe we should just briefly sort of introduce that and clarify what that is. So archaeogaming is, if I recall correctly, it's a term that was coined by Andrew Reinhardt in 2013, I think it was. But then he wrote a book on it and published it in 2018 called Archaeogaming: Introduction to Archaeology in and of Video Games, and that's basically what it is. It sort of marries the concept of archaeology with video games. It looks at representations of archaeology in games, for example, Tomb Raider or Uncharted. It looks at video games as archaeological sites. For example, you could have games where players create towns or where players create settlements. How does that work? Can we use archaeological methods to look at that? But at the same time, it's also the archaeology of video games. So it's about looking how the material culture of video games has evolved. And I think the best example of that is a large archaeological dig, I think in 2014, where they excavated the legendary Atari burial ground, where hundreds of game cartridges of, I think, E.T. was it in 1984, the game that crashed the American game industry, basically, and so Atari buried all of these cartridges somewhere in the desert in New Mexico, and then they excavated that in 2014, I think. So it's just archaeology in and of video games, and we have been doing basically that, looking at archaeology in video games. I don't know if Kate wants to add something.
I will try. So we tried to find a happy medium between being instructional and do what academics very pompously call outreach, and also being entertaining, because we realized that people watching us play a game for 2 hours and just talk about academia would not have worked. So we tried to have guests that were, even if not gamers, could have a good time with the material that we were providing. And most of the times, the people that came on had no idea what they were getting into or what kind of games we were going to play. The screen that Alex is showing now is one of the screens with our excellent host for the time. That was Dr. Brianna Jackson, with whom we were playing Assassin's Creed Origins Curse of the Pharaohs, and she had not played it before. But she is an expert in ancient Egypt and the Achaemenid period. So it was having her reaction to the recreation of Amarna in game was priceless. So we tried to have a different expert every week. When we could not have guests, we tried to fill in with things that we previously knew. And the best part of this experiment, let's say, was how lively the chat was. People showed up week after week to offer suggestions on the game, to ask questions about the game, to ask questions about antiquity, and to ask, our experts things that were in their field of expertise. And we were very, very, very pleased with the turnout in the chat, and in terms of viewers too. The chat to viewer thing on Twitch is not one-to-one. You can have way more viewers than people who are chatting. But our chat was never dead. So that was probably the best part of it, and the most stimulating part of it, because we would read the questions and then we would answer, and people in the chat would also answer and start conversations on their own. It was a beautiful synergy that we created.
Yeah, that's true. So basically what we do is, so we stream once every week. I mean, usually it's on Friday at 2 p.m. EST, so basically around this time that we do. And so we play different games, we talk about the games, we play them simultaneously as we're discussing them, and people from everywhere can basically join in on Twitch and ask questions or talk about stuff they see. So for the last year, what we did in 2021, 2022, because it's also, maybe we should say as well, like we aren't the first to do SASA Archaeogaming. Like the year before, Tine Razalla, she did Archaeogaming live stream like once a month, but we basically follow in her footsteps, and we turn it into this weekly thing. And
she walked so we could run.
Yeah. True. Walking simulator. But so what we've done the past year is we've played Hades, which is a great game set in Greek mythology. We played the Curse of the Pharaohs DLC from Assassin's Creed Origins, so the game you just saw, it's set in ancient Egypt. We played Uncharted 4 with Dr. Bill Farley to talk about representation of looting and heritage and
preservation of materials.
Preservation, cultural artifacts. And then finally we played Heaven's Vault, which is also like an archaeological game where you decipher inscriptions, and it's very like there's lots to talk about in terms of epigraphy. But we also did a couple of specials. For example, we played Valhalla and Odyssey from Assassin's Creed with both Liv Albert, who does the Let's Talk About Myths Baby podcast, which was a lot of fun. We also played it with Adam Bierstedt, who does the Ludo History Twitch channel, who you should also really check out. He does more medieval stuff, but that he's amazing. We also did a special with the people for who are developing the Dream of Darkness game, Javier Rayon Nunez and Andres Rojas, who are they're creating a game set in Aztec, ancient Aztec culture, like a very mythological game. And we talked about what they do, how they create a game, what the creative process of that is. For the birthday bash with SASA, I think that was in April, we had Andrew Reinhardt, the founder, the pioneer, the godfather of Archaeogaming. We had him on, and he surveyed various games with us. I think we did Fortnite, we did No Man's Sky, and Fallout 76, if I remember correctly. And then we looked at how players engaged with that world archaeologically. And for our Mother's Day special, we played this game, which sounds much more horrible than it actually is. It's called Oedipus Dating Simulator, but it was a lot of fun. It was great,
and it was also a good example of classical reception in a video game that has nothing to do with classics, but at the same time, it has everything to do with classics.
Really, it's what better myth for a dating simulator?
We did not date our own mother.
We did not.
I want to make that clear.
And if we look at the guests that we had in 2021-22, we had a lot of different guests on. We had academics. We also had game developers. For example, Greg Kasavin, who wrote Hades, or Steve Morton, who was the quality assurance tester for Heaven's Vault. So we have a very hybrid mix, I would say, like a very diverse group of people. Who are expert in Greek mythology, but also or in Egyptian history, for example. It was a very great mix. And I think we also have some numbers. So I think in the past year, we got like 200 followers on Twitch, I think. More than that, we did 30 plus episodes of this, and we usually stream for like 2 hours or more, so we streamed about 60 to 70 hours, which I think is a lot. But
it is a lot, and we reached the status of Twitch affiliates, so we will, that is for streamers who are like very consistent in their, in putting out new material. And we didn't think we would, and then we did, and that was because we had a really great turnout of people who actually tuned in to watch us.
Yeah, and then I mean the fact that we're able to do that for 2 hours on end, I mean, means that we have this great community who's speaking to us while we're playing it. And so the most successful streams that we did was the one with Hades. I mean, the one of Hades with
Hades
Greg,
himself.
with Hades himself, which was actually during an academic conference at the same time. So we kind of married it to like the academic part of it. The Heavens Vault was also a highly successful one with Monica Hanna, who the game is basically inspired by. So that was fantastic. And then the one with Liv Albert for Assassin's Creed Odyssey, that was also one of the most viewed ones.
It was a great joining of chaotic minds.
Yeah.
To freak out over video game and myth.
Yeah. And then we thought we would also like we would sort of tease or to give like a brief insight into what we're doing next year. I don't know if you want to do the honors.
Yes. So we are trying to branch out and not do as many classics and Egyptian games anymore. We're trying to branch out. So we're gonna play. I apologize for butchering the pronunciation. Skadma Snowfall, which is a game based in Sami mythology.
Yeah.
I have no idea what to expect. We're going to play the DLC of Immortals, Phoenix Rising, Myths of the Eastern Realm, which deals in Chinese mythology. We are going to play God of War Ragnarok because we will have to play the most massive AAA game to come out this year. We have high expectations. We will play Tomb Raider because there cannot be Archaeogaming without talking about Dr. Lara Croft. We might double in a Total War Saga Troy. And we might also play Pendragon, so move slightly forward in time, but still, in the general area of antiquity. And we have a few specials. We'll have the authors of the book Women in Classical Video Games for September. We will play The Frogs, which is an absolutely delirious take on the already delirious Aristophanes play The Frogs, but with some Renaissance art in it. We will have a special that we're really looking forward to on oracles and video games, which some virtual reality stuff. So stay tuned for that. We are planning a roundtable on myths and the Marvel Cinematic Universe with other scholars in November 2022. And then for our Valentine's Day special, we will romance cities across Europe while we play as Vikings in Doki Doki Ragnarok, because we need to have at least one delirious game for the year. This time we will do more. So yeah, we hope to have an even better turnout for next year. We are playing a lot of interesting games, and most importantly, we're playing games that neither of us have played before, apart from Tomb Raider.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, God of War Ragnarok will literally be our first impression because the game is released in November.
Exactly.
So how can you support us? So if you enjoy these events, you can become a supporter with a recurring monthly donation. For as little as $3 a month, you can help us save ancient studies. And there's a website on the slide here, saveancientstudies.org/donate, where you can learn more. And you can also subscribe to Twitch, where you might be even watching this. So if you scroll down, you should see this donate button or subscription button, where you can just click. And if you're an Amazon Prime subscriber, I think you get one free Twitch subscription as well. So if you have that, maybe you want to spend it on us. I don't know. And I think that's basically what we have.
Right on the clock.
Right on the clock.
Come follow us on Twitch. Subscribe if you can. If you can't, just give us a follow, which helps. And tune in. We're gonna start again September 5th, I think.
Yeah.